dust storm, man. Nobody calls Han Solo a bitch.
Bring him on. I prefer a straight fight to all this sneaking around.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Oh, come on, bro. It's the wars.
As we approach the climax of Season 2 of The Mandalorian, action around the future titles coming to the Disney Plus Star Wars catalog is picking up. This is The Wars and More. I'm Joe, and of course with me is my good buddy Doug. Hey Doug, how you doing this?
Doing pretty good, Joe. How you doing?
Doing fairly well. I mean, it's funny because we're going to talk about this episode of The Mandalorian a little later, but it's like news started to pick up around the other titles, right? Like Kenobi and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then Mandalorian, this episode's kind of like, whoa, we're still doing stuff over here, and it took over the news again.
Right. Yeah.
Like, hey, that 2-day, lull in the middle where everybody got done talking about the Jedi, and we're like, oh, what about this? And they're, whoa, no, Mandalorian's still happening.
That's right. Yeah. A lot of times you do get that. You have those squirrel moments, right? You're focused on the Mandalorian. You're like, ooh, squirrel over here. Yep, got to keep your focus.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think officially they're quite ready to start shifting that focus yet.
Right.
And it that makes sense because, like I said, we're right here. We're at the coming crescendo, right? Like, absolutely. This is not the time to get distracted.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. With where we're at now, I would say coming crescendo is the best way to put it. Yeah, we'll just say that.
Yeah. And we'll get to that.
Yes.
There's a lot to unpack from this week's episode. That's for sure. But about the other stuff.
Yeah.
The other stuff. There's buzz around Kenobi. Diego Luna was on Kimmel.
Right.
So he has, stuff to talk about.
Yeah, it wasn't a bunch to talk about, but there's if nothing else, a nice little confirmation of information from Diego Luna, which they, of course, being on Kimmel, did it in a funny way, but they were talking over Skype or Zoom or something like that, and Jimmy Kimmel mentions, hey, it's really late where you are, over there in England. So, they kind of just imply some stuff from there.
You're shooting right now? What are you shooting right now over there?
A tiny little thing. I mean, a short film with some friends.
Right, for Disney Plus with Lucasfilm involved.
They're my friends, yeah.
They're his friends. So clearly, what he's working on is the Cassian Andor series. So,
not to distract,
yeah,
too much, but man, with the like 5 people they let in the studio audience anymore.
Yeah.
Man, it just sounds awful. Like you got like 2 people in the back, like
oh yeah, I know.
Like they feel like they gotta laugh louder and even more obnoxious.
I got a feeling that's probably the crew too. They're getting paid to laugh that way.
Like, yeah, I'm working on a small picture.
Right.
Damn, dude.
You make an excellent point.
Not to distract, but I thought that was like, wow.
Yeah.
The dude laughing was funnier than what he said.
Exactly.
But yeah, I love that. This is the new thing, right? Oh, what are you working on? Oh, just this little, small thing with some friends.
Right.
Little independent picture. Things like that.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Everyone knows what you're doing, but this is confirmation that he's in the middle of doing it right now. So, kind of cool to hear that. You know, it shows us that stuff's going on. You know,
Yeah, like nowadays it's so clear. Like if you refuse to say exactly what you're working on, we know you're on Star Wars.
Right. Exactly. One thing he did say is that he would be home back to Mexico for Christmas. So, I don't know if that means he's going to be done shooting at that point, or if he's going to go home for Christmas and come back and finish up. But he will have that break.
Do we really know when they started shooting?
I don't recall us knowing that. No. But
So I remember like rumors that they were going to start shooting by the end of the year.
right.
This is by the end of the year. So
Aren't they supposed to run right into shooting Kenobi? Like one right after the others, and the crew's supposed to stay over or something like that?
Oh, maybe.
So we might have some more to shoot. So we'll see, because Kenobi's supposed to start in a couple months, a few months or whatever. So
Well, about that,
yeah.
supposedly Kenobi shooting is supposed to start as early as next month.
Oh, really? That soon?
And in Boston of all places.
What?
Yeah, there's like tons of news out there reporting that Kenobi is going to start shooting in Boston in January.
Okay. Man, I don't understand.
When you think Tatooine, you think, I mean, obviously the first place that comes to mind is Boston.
Yeah, well, okay. So maybe when you think Ewan McGregor, Boston pubs, maybe something like that. Yeah, I get
Shipping up
that.
to Boston?
What's that?
He's shipping up to Boston?
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. That's going to be a deep cut. So every
I don't know
listener,
if it's that deep.
well, every listener who gets it, 10 points. There you go.
I think most people will get that, honestly.
But I don't know what they could be looking at shooting in Boston. I they got to have something. I don't know. That's weird. Unless maybe they're going to do some sort of like a transformation of Old Town Street or something. You recall like they did in The Last Jedi, kind of refaced all the buildings and stuff and shot it. But again, it can't be for a Tatooine scene, that's for sure, because that doesn't make sense.
I mean, do they have one of them volumes out there? Like,
I don't know. Even if they did, why? I don't know. Why go to Boston? I mean, because you have the one out in California.
Well, I mean, with these schedules being the way they are, I mean, they probably can't get in they're in London. Had to find a alternate location to shoot some stuff.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm perplexed. I will say that, because when you say, hey, guess where they're shooting the Kenobi series, Boston did not come to mind. I will say that.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people would be like, Tunisia, right? Like,
Yeah, right, Tunisia. Okay, maybe you go to the desert out in California or New Mexico or something, but no, not Boston. For sure, not Boston.
yeah, definitely not what I envisioned.
No.
So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that is very perplexing,
Yeah.
to say the least. But I mean, it's cool, right? I mean, they're both these projects are now well underway,
right?
You know, obviously Kenobi, they've ironed out their issues.
Yeah, whatever issues those might have been. Yes, the story. You mean?
Yep.
Yeah. Not sure what that was, but okay. Yep.
Nope. I mean, they didn't tell us. I mean, in Star Wars, they don't tell us anything.
Exactly.
They said, "Hey, we got some bugs to work out."
Right.
So, yeah, but both projects are underway, and with the Mandalorian, you know, running at, you know, the pace it's running and gaining popularity, I'm sure Disney wants to get these other projects off the ground.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Ride this wave.
Absolutely. I have a feeling that they're trying to capitalize on that, on all of that, the best they can, because, you know, they certainly have a big enough fan base with the Mandalorian that, you know, there'll be some attrition going from one show to the next. Obviously, that's just the way it is. But, and I don't know, with the live action stuff, you're going maybe not with Cassian, but with Kenobi, you're going into like a big enough character to where, you know, probably not going to lose that many people, you know?
Right.
And you're talking to Kenobi that everyone knows from 20 years ago. So.
All right. I want to take a little step back in time here, and it's not that far back in time. You know, it was shortly after the Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, not that long ago.
There was a lot of talk about this. I understand, you know, people are going to say, oh, it's about film, but they didn't say it was just about film at the time. That Star Wars was going to, you know, take some time to breathe for a minute.
Oh, right.
You know?
Yeah. I think everyone, yeah, okay, go ahead.
But it really sounded like they were, you know, going to take time, retool, and come back at this a different way. Now, they're obviously coming at this a different way. Now, this was already in production. You know, The Mandalorian was already in production.
Right.
But I gotta think that was the plan, right? They were gonna. I feel like they were gonna take their time a little bit with Kenobi and Cassian. And the success of The Mandalorian just skyrocketed those things right to the front of the line.
I don't know that they were looking at taking more time with those shows. I don't feel like they're rushing them to get them out, you know, because they've had some setbacks.
I'm just talking about the way this stuff is coming out. Not necessarily that they were, you know, that they're pushing up timelines or anything. I'm just talking about the buzz, the people getting out there. Like, come on, Diego's out there. For what reason? What was he out there for?
He
something else.
Yeah. He had another movie that he was promoting, which was, of course, hardly part of the conversation. But yeah, that's what that was for.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, never mind. I retract everything I was going with.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Mean,
he was on
just
promoting
seems like
something.
the buzz is gathering again.
Yeah. And again, right? We had Ewan McGregor promoting the motorcycle trip he went on. I forget what that was called. Long Way Up or whatever it's called. I forget. But,
right.
You know, that's whenever these guys are on promoting something other than Star Wars, you know, we talk about that all the time. You know, they're going to get asked about Star Wars. So
right.
It's just how it is.
Yeah. I guess officially, I mean, everything going on is just nuts.
Yeah.
Because they got all the High Republic stuff about to kick off.
Sure.
I just didn't get the impression that it was about Star Wars films. You know what I mean?
That what was?
That this whole, like, we're going to slow it down. I mean, they didn't necessarily say they were going to, like, stop.
Right.
But there was this, like, we're going to slow it down. And it seems to be faster than it's been since Disney's owned it.
Well, I mean, we did get the announcement we were gonna get the films, the next films in, God, what years was it? I forget now. 2023 or something like that. 24, I don't know. But
23 or 22.
It might have been 22 and it got bumped to 23, something like that for the next one. And we got word that Taika Waititi is going to be working on a film.
Right.
Possibly one of those, but
and that's post that whole we're going to slow it down.
Right.
Retool. Oh, by the way, Taika Waititi is going to do one.
Yep. So
just kidding.
I don't know. I think that we will.
I mean, I guess the part that they slowed down on is the Game of Thrones guys left.
Right. Yes.
And Ryan Johnson's whole trilogy thing seems to be MIA.
So I think you've hit the nail on the head here. When all of that stuff was going on, that was the corporate way of saying, oh my God, we don't know what the heck we're going to do now. Yeah.
The wheels are falling off.
We're just going to take a little breather here.
This is intentional. This is planned. We know what we're doing.
Exactly. Yes. Shareholders, don't worry. We got this.
Yeah. Don't divest. So, yeah, I mean, but with what the Mandalorian is doing, I think this whole Disney Plus thing and this TV show type setting push is going to just pick up. And these rumored spin-offs,
right?
They're going to become a real thing. Like, and I think they're going to become a real thing faster than we think.
Yeah, I think so too, especially with them getting the process down,
Yeah.
Quick. That'll, yeah. We'll see this stuff sooner than we're realizing. It's going to sneak up on us, I think.
Oh, for sure. All right, well, another thing we've been following for quite a while now is the whole, digital release versus theater release and what Disney did with, Mulan.
Right. Yes.
Well, Warner Brothers has hopped on that train.
Okay.
So Warner Brothers will be releasing all 17 of its slated 2021 releases simultaneously on HBO Max the day they appear in theaters.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And where this gets even more wild is so Disney had Mulan as premium content.
Yeah.
Well, Warner Brothers, I'm guessing I don't know what the relationship is with HBO Max. I've seen it described as their platform.
Okay.
So obviously there's some, deal, or it's their company, they own it or whatever.
Right.
There's definitely some sort of very, very prominent partnership there. Right.
Okay. Yep.
So yeah, it's going their but not with a premium.
Not
So all these films will be available to HBO Max subscribers at no additional charge.
really.
Yep.
Wow.
So for your $15 a month subscription or whatever it is, you'll be able to watch these films the day they release in theaters.
Oh, that is amazing. So,
Now they're only going to be available for 30 days.
and there's the catch. Okay, so interesting. So then they're going to take it away from the service.
Yes.
Wow.
So it'll be available to stream for 30 days, and then it will be gone.
Huh.
Now it'll still be running in theaters beyond 30 days.
Okay. Interesting. So,
Maybe this is like a silver lining for the movie theaters or something.
oh, okay, I got you. Like, yeah, this is the deal we're going to make to pacify the theaters.
Yeah. Like, we're only going to run it here for 30 days. If they want to see it, beyond that, they'll have to come to you.
Right. So, okay, this has got to be some sort of a scheme to like get more people involved in HBO Max. I don't really see it any other way because.
Well, yeah, I mean, so HBO Max is not doing the best.
Right.
I think it's sitting at like 8 million subscribers.
Yeah, that's a far cry
So
from.
the realm of streaming services, that's pretty weak.
Yeah. Wow. So
But there's some pretty heavy hitting movies coming to this.
okay.
You got Wonder Woman coming this month on Christmas, right?
Right.
So that'll be available at that time. And then you got The Suicide Squad, The Matrix 4, Dune, Godzilla vs. Kong, Mortal Kombat, and the Zack Snyder Justice League.
Huh.
So there's some power here.
Yeah, that's interesting stuff.
And that's just the stuff that I would put in our realm, right?
Right.
There's other stuff that's gonna pull, because you got The Conjuring. So the next iteration of that series.
Oh.
Space Jam: A New Legacy.
Right. Interesting.
And then the adaptation of Lin-Manuel Miranda's In the Heights.
Okay. Huh. So here's what I'm having a hard time with here, thinking about this, is when you have a streaming service like, Netflix or Disney Plus or whatever, one of the great things to me is rewatchability of movies. So if you see something and you like it, in 6 months down the road, I'm in the mood to just sit down and watch that movie today. It's raining outside, whatever, something, whatever. You just get the bug, you want to watch that movie. If it goes away after 31 days, how are you going to do that? Where's the incentive to keep, clearly these, all their new releases are going to be spaced out throughout the year, but
Yeah, you got 17 in 12 months.
yeah, but, well,
not every release appeals to all audiences.
True.
In
Good point.
fact, I would say every single release has targeted audiences.
Definitely.
None of these are super broad.
Right.
I mean, maybe the Suicide Squad and the Matrix are pretty broad because they've, really been kind of pop culture-y.
Right.
Mortal Kombat, I guess, yeah. But I don't think Mortal Kombat's not going to be a family-friendly movie that you're going to be like, I mean, I guess
No.
Suicide Squad's not going to be either. That's going to be the rated R one.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, stuff like Dune's up, like people who are listening to our show would probably be interested in Dune. It's going to be, that kind of genre.
Right.
But yeah, it's not like every single one of these is going to appeal to all audiences. So having a 30-day window because you got another one coming out, not everybody's going to want to see the next one.
Right.
But at the same time, if you're paying $15 a month and you're just a movie fanatic that sees everything they can, to see all 17 Warner Brothers releases in the same year for $15 a month, I mean, you're saving big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
going to theaters.
That's an excellent deal for sure. I just feel like, because all of us listening here, we all know what we're like with Star Wars. So every now and then, or all the time, you get the opportunity, you pop Star Wars back in, whichever variation you want, and you're watching over and over and over again. There's just that part of it that I think, so far Disney Plus has been awesome for when it comes to Star Wars.
Like half their subscribers.
Yeah. So, I'm just thinking taking that aspect of it away might be a little bit of a mistake. And I almost get the feeling that they're trying to feel out how they can go about doing this, because
well, yeah, because I look at the Disney Plus route they took with Mulan.
Right.
Okay, it was a premium when it was released. Maybe the price was a little steep.
Right.
And that's something they could work out.
Right.
But after that time, when it was a premium title, it is now available for everyone to see that has a Disney Plus subscription.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So it had its premium time, and now it's just on the platform.
Right. See, and okay, you keep mentioning premium, which is exactly what it is, but it's also to be one of the people who's quote unquote saw it first, right? The reason why we all go opening night to a Star Wars movie, it's those bragging rights that you'd be paying for to some degree,
Yeah, I mean, and Disney made the move. They tried to get family of 4 movie theater ticket prices
sure
on that premium.
Right.
And I think that was a little steep. I
Sure.
think they would have fared much better with like a $19.99,
that makes sense.
I think that would have fared much better because what wasn't it, $40
I thought it was 30.
or $30 even?
Right. Which,
I mean,
if a family of 4, that's $7.50 a piece. So,
yeah.
That's definite right around movie admission, for a family of 4. But, if you, I don't know, if they would keep these movies on the streaming service, maybe charge a little less, okay, than $30.
Well, it worked then because going to the theaters was not an option at that time.
Correct.
Okay, so when Disney made that release, there was no going to the theaters.
Sure.
There was no simultaneous release.
Right.
I mean, there were some in, some states that were
Right.
able to, go to the movies.
Yeah.
But it was very small amount. And worldwide, when you look at it from that perspective, it was even smaller percentage wise. Like there was no movie theater offerings when Mulan came out.
Right.
So there was a little taking advantage of that situation right there, I believe.
Maybe. I
think if I'm be completely honest. If I look at a $30 premium content on Disney Plus, but it's in the movie theater, I'm gonna go see it in a movie theater on the big screen with their sound system.
Right.
I'm not gonna pay $30 to watch it on my TV.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the movie, okay, but I just have a feeling. Okay, number one, I think the whole pandemic situation kind of accelerated all of this. I think it was heading this way, and it was gonna, hash itself out over the next, 4 or 5 years. But
yes, and this is another iteration of that.
Right.
Right. Disney opened Pandora's box.
Yes, absolutely.
And now other studios are now trying different versions of that.
Right.
And they're going to find the right one.
Absolutely.
And this is going to be the blow that we've been talking about to movie theaters.
Yeah, for sure.
Because there's no doubt about it. This is going to be a huge blow. And it will be like this moving forward. This is not going to be something that's going to go away once the pandemic has subsided.
Right. It's not going to go away, but I think between all these different services, they are going to have their growing pains. And I think that's what we're seeing play out here in figuring out what the best model is going to be moving forward to release these movies this way. So, I think what it's going to boil down to is, subscribers are going to speak. They're going to speak with their dollars, and they're going to show all these services which way they prefer it best.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to watch the licensing battle going into this.
Oh yeah.
While all these streaming platforms battle for the rights to run the next blockbuster.
Sure. And I got a feeling we might see new kinds of creative licensing deals being made. Who knows? It could be exclusive for a limited time and then across multiple services. Who knows? I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of people trying to think creatively about how they can do this and do what's best to get their movie distributed to the most people.
Right. And not to harp on this too much and drag this out too much. Got Star Wars to talk about. But just a theoretical question here. What do you think that this kind of move is going to do to streaming service pricing?
It's gotta elevate to some degree.
That's what I was thinking. I would assume with this kind of move, I mean, looking at HBO Max, it's one of the more expensive ones.
Sure.
I believe it's at like $15
right.
a month. So it's relatively expensive compared to other streaming services. I just wonder what this will do to this whole industry pricing wise and what we can expect, as this becomes more of a thing. I would anticipate pricing to go up.
I would think so too. I think the what do you call it? It's gonna where things settle is gonna lie somewhere in the middle of where we're at. Okay, I think we can see the price of Disney Plus going up. Netflix is going up.
Now I think it will find a balance and it won't go too out of control because
right,
you're not going to want to price it to a point where people are going to want to start choosing which ones they want.
Right.
They're going to want to price it to a point where people are going to want to be involved with as many as they can.
Sure. But
so
I do see prices
crazy.
I see prices going up, but I think the prices of premium content, i.e. Mulan, those sort of things coming down.
Yes.
So it's going to be a balance somewhere in the middle, I think. So, you know, maybe WB should be looking at, or HBO Max, however that works, should be looking at, maybe they charge $11 or $12 a month, and you got to pay $10 to see the brand new release, and then leave it on the service.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think popcorn prices are going to reach about $30 at the movie theaters.
Yeah,
in order to make up for this.
Hey, we talked about that before too. That's going to be like a night out to the live action theater.
Hey, and you know what? Maybe they saw this coming in advance, and that's why a lot of places have gone to selling things like beer and mixed drinks,
right? Yeah,
at rock concert pricing.
Of course.
to make up for this. I mean, it they may have seen this coming more than we gave them credit for.
Yeah.
Because more and more theaters have made that move to having, a bar, and food quality is going up in a lot of places. I mean, you can get essentially table service in the movie now.
Right.
You could be watching the movie and they'll show up and set the stuff on your tray.
Yep. I think, I think we've covered this a long time ago, but
right.
Just a one, press on it one more time here. We could see more event type stuff, down the road happening in theaters, the old Rocky Horror Picture Show stuff, and, playing your classic movies in the theaters on, every Friday night, there's a couple showings of classic movies, that kind of thing. Stuff you go to for nostalgia, stuff you go to have a good time getting together with a bunch of like-minded people. All that kind of stuff that can still take place in the theaters. And I think the theaters would be crazy not to promote that kind of stuff, because
we are seeing that right now too. I mean, they had a lack of content.
Sure. Absolutely.
And
hey,
stuff like The Empire Strikes Back
The
was
Empire
leading
Strikes
at the box
Back.
office.
Yes,
man.
exactly.
So Jurassic Park
Yep.
had its time at the top of the box office again. It's wild times we're living in.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm interested to see on what this does for cinema and for streaming, and what it does to the movie industry as a whole, and big budget pictures in particular.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that you're going to see too many $300 million budgets.
Yeah, it's, but at the same time, we have things like The Volume being created, and I think they're going to be able to bring those costs down for film as well to more reasonable prices, to where
there's no better driver of innovation than economics, right?
Exactly.
Getting too expensive to do, find a cheaper way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, we'll continue to stay on this, because I mean, it's interesting to watch.
It is.
And it has, and I know we focus on Star Wars, but this has huge impacts for Star Wars as well. So
sure.
It's something to keep an eye on.
Have something to add to the conversation, or you just want to let us know how we're doing? Email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. That's the best place to get in on the action. But if social media is a little more to your liking, @TheWarsandMore on Twitter is always a good place to interact with us. And we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/TheWarsandMore. And of course, your portal to this and everything else, The Wars and More, is thewarsandmore.com.
All right, time to get back to Star Wars.
Yeah.
Kind of what we do here.
Where we need to be. And The Mandalorian. Yep.
We talked about it at the beginning of this episode. There's a lot to unpack this week.
Oh, yeah.
There is a ton to unpack. I thought last week was a lot to unpack.
Uh-huh.
But it like, even after looking into it more, like, last week was pretty straightforward.
It was. Yeah.
It really was. And this week, though, there were just as many questions raised as answers given, right? Like,
Yeah,
actually, there were probably more questions raised than answers given.
sure.
And with only 2 episodes left to tell the tale
Oh, I know.
for this season, so yeah, a lot to unpack here. Where do we want to start, Doug? We don't typically start at the beginning.
No, right. So I'm just going to throw this out there because this is the big one for us and those who listen to us. They know your stance on a certain individual, so I'd like to get that out there.
I'm sure.
Boba Fett, Joe.
Yeah.
What'd you think of Boba Fett?
Oh man, I gotta say, like, I was really emotionally torn during this
Right?
because, and as much as it sounds like I dislike the character, right, and that I hate the character, I don't.
Yeah, but you always keep saying he went out like a punk.
He did go out like a punk. That's just how it went. Like,
I know.
that's not like, he had the most anticlimactic arc
Sure.
of all the popular characters out there.
Right.
But Wedge did more than him.
True.
So yeah, I didn't want this season to do what I thought it was going to do with all the rumors, which was take away from this story by having all the focus go to past characters.
Oh, I gotcha. Yep.
So the allure of this series to me was new, fresh stories, right? New characters, new stories. And so far this season, we've had Bo-Katan.
Yep.
Ahsoka Tano.
Yep.
And Boba Fett.
Yep. And Cobb Vanth, if you want to get down in the nitty gritty.
I mentioned the 3 I wanted to mention.
Okay. Yes.
Cobb Vanth was a secondary character
In a
biology.
bad novel. Yeah.
So, to bring in secondary characters was not a huge deal for me.
Right.
But arguably, I guess Bo-Katan could be considered a secondary character, but
But she's an
and
on-screen
Boba Fett-
character.
Boba Fett's considered a secondary character, but their popularity
Yeah.
elevates them.
Yeah, for sure.
So they have stolen the show in their respective shows. All 3 of these characters that I just mentioned.
Yeah.
3 characters in 6 episodes. That means half of this season hasn't even focused on the title character.
Yeah, he's kind of become the conduit for on-ramping all of these others into the show.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a very busy thing for me.
Yeah.
And I really just want to hear the story that I showed up to hear. Now it's me, and I don't get to dictate what happens. I'm along for the ride, right?
Yeah.
And I've enjoyed everything I've seen. So it's just it's a complaint, kind of a major, but kind of minor,
Okay. Yeah, I gotcha.
It's a big deal, but I'm not letting it ruin anything for me because seeing Boba Fett actually accomplish something was pretty cool.
Yeah. Not only accomplished something, like he was basically what you expected him to be, but never got to see him be.
He was
Right.
as badass as his legends were.
Yes, there you go. Perfect way of putting it.
And now you're just like, okay, if he's like this after, everything he's been through and at the age he is, man, it'd be pretty cool to see what he was like in his prime.
Yeah,
Like actually see it.
absolutely.
Because if he's got these kind of skills, he didn't learn these in the 5 years it's been since he was killed.
Right.
Before he was back from the dead.
So I gotta say about Boba Fett, there were a couple instances when they were having their little chat that, as he was speaking, the tones, inflections, accent, whatever, just made me think Daniel Logan from episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, wow, this is perfect. Like this is that kid, and I was like, I was taken right back to that. I was making that connection, like, because there he is, no helmet, and it's like, wow, this is.
Yeah,
awesome.
I will give the credit that is due here. They did a good job of separating Boba and Jango Fett.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, you do feel like when he is playing this character in this episode, he is not playing the character he played, back in episode 2.
Right. Exactly.
So that was just marvelously executed.
Yes.
And Tim Morrison killed that.
Absolutely. That's what I'm kind of getting at with this is, when I heard him speaking and noticed the way he was speaking and stuff, my first thought was Boba, not Jango. So that is definitely a credit to Tim Morrison. So
yeah, like you said, the inflection in the voice, the
Yep.
pronunciation of words.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, like the way he would pronounce certain letters, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Were just spot on.
Yep.
So yeah, it was very cool.
Yeah.
Very well executed, and the action sequences were amazing.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely amazing. Yeah. Stormtroopers didn't stand a chance.
And I gotta say, I don't know what it is, and I don't know why this is gonna sound just sick. But I don't know what it is about when a stormtrooper gets smacked with a blunt object and the helmet explodes. Why that is satisfying to watch.
Yep, you're right. That was sick, Joe. No, I get it. I mean, because
for the action sequences, I mean, Star Wars is very good about, no blood and gore.
right, you get the implication without having to see all that. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to see blood, brains, and things splattered, right?
Right.
You don't need that. And yeah, okay, that helmet exploding like that adds a little more violence to it.
Yep.
But it's a different kind of violence.
Yeah.
They have done a good job this season of making Star Wars grittier without making it gorier.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Because that's one thing I don't want to see Star Wars become. I don't want to see gore.
Yeah. That's
it's just not the thing. It's supposed to be for all audiences.
exactly. So another subject, another character. Fennec Shan. What do you think, man?
Fantastic. This is a character that was well hyped for season 1
Oh yeah.
and then short-lived.
Yeah.
To
Again,
see her back and to see her in action, in real action, right? Like,
right.
we got glimpses of it in the first season.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, a glimpse, basically. You know, she got
A glimpse, like-
she got a few shots off on their approach. And that was about it. You know, little scuffle at the end. But
I mean, and I think my favorite moment of hers, and this is funny, the helmet toss.
oh right,
Takes the helmet off to catch her breath.
uh-huh.
Two stormtroopers show up. The first thing she does is chuck the helmet at them.
Yep.
I was like, that was awesome.
Yeah, I like this character a lot. She was,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. She was just basically, again, badass out there killing stormtroopers. You know, it was
Also confirmed that moment at the end of the gunslinger.
oh,
Right? It was the
for sure.
gunslinger,
Yes.
gunslinger that happened in.
Yeah. That it was Boba Fett.
Yeah.
For sure. But so what do you think about her prosthetic guts, I guess, basically? I don't know. Maybe that was guts in a spine or whatever.
Okay, that was weird.
That was weird. I gotta say, that's the first time I think I've seen that kind of prosthesis in Star Wars. You know, we're used to people losing limbs and maybe eyes or something like that in Star Wars, but yeah, that one was a little out there. But hey, she apparently could survive on that, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can even mention this as a character reveal, because this is kind of a thing that it's kind of something that's become a thing in Star Wars, where we look at ships as characters. You know, the Millennium Falcon
sure.
has this this kind of edge to it.
Yep.
Where it's seen almost as a character.
Right.
And I would put Slave One in that category.
Sure.
And it, you know, with how recognizable it is, I mean, you didn't see Slave One come in and expect any other character to show up.
Exactly. Yeah. We all knew who that was. Yeah.
So, what did you think of that moment when you saw Slave One? What was your reaction?
Well, I knew we were going to see Boba Fett for sure.
Right.
And I knew Mando had no idea what he was getting ready to encounter.
Yep.
So,
You knew it was bad though.
That was interesting. Yeah, that was interesting because, you know, he's assuming he's going to have to go down there and buy the kid some time. So it's like, okay, but maybe this is the Jedi you're looking for, you know? He actually even says it upon their quote unquote introduction, right? But I have a feeling that he wasn't even really thinking it was a Jedi in the first place. So how we would know that, I don't know. But
I almost got this feeling like he was kind of hoping that this was going to be a bit of a fool's errand.
oh yeah, well you could tell at the beginning of the show he was wrestling with that.
Yeah.
You know.
You know, and then he's walking around a rock like, oh, maybe there's a way to turn it on. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
like a activation switch or something. You know, he and then, oh, look, nothing happened. Time to go. You know, like
Exactly. Yep.
I have the feeling that this was written that the character wanted this to be a fool's errand.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to split with the child.
I mean, okay. This is I don't think I'm reaching when I say, you know, there's a at the beginning of this episode, the shifter knob, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is metaphorically playing catch, basically. You know, I mean, you see that, and it's been called this father-son relationship forming, and it's clear that's what it is. So I don't know. I have a feeling that the character for sure was almost looking for a way of, okay, well, yep, this didn't work. Time to move on. Let's go find another way. And
like he's satisfied. He by making the journey, he is taking the steps to satisfy his oath,
his obligation. Yeah.
Obligation. But is more and more reluctant to break free from Grogu.
Right.
That's the habit we got to get into. Keep saying the child, Grogu.
Yeah. Okay. And you know what? I'm going to say this. I'm going to change course just a hair. Every time he's trying to like break through that barrier, they make a point at the beginning of this episode even, but last episode for sure. Every time Mando says Grogu, the kid pays attention. Mm-hmm. Yet, when he's in his meditation trance there, he never said his name. I have a feeling later on, next couple episodes, this is actually going to be a thing. In order to get his attention, he's going to call his name at a very opportune moment. So, because he did not do it this episode. So
that's a good point. I did not think of that.
He kept calling him kid.
He was trying to break his meditation.
Yep. Kid. Absolutely. Kid. Yep.
Never said Grogu.
Yep. Because every time he said it, the kid's head whips around every single time. So it's almost like they're throwing that in your face, to where, hey, pay attention to this because it's going to come back later, Yeah,
I mean, he did it in the beginning of this episode when he was having a lot of fun with it.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm sure part of having fun with it is like, he's laughing because the kid just, hey, what's up?
Mm-hmm.
But like, he's laughing because he's never gotten that reaction. Every time I try to get this kid to listen, he don't listen. Now I say this and there he is.
Yep, exactly.
And it's still amazing to him that he has a name,
Yeah.
So. But yeah, I mean, it's funny too, because you almost understand because he's still saying kid, and we're still saying the child.
Right.
We're almost like in the same place as Mando here. It's not easy to go, oh crap, that's right, his name's Grogu.
Right.
So you can't even get mad at the character for not going, hey, dude, why didn't you just say his name? Because we're having trouble doing it.
Exactly. And another thing that might come back and play out later on, I'm thinking, is the play and catch. They've done this a couple times now. They've made a point of it. Did it at the beginning of this episode for really no good reason. So I think later on, who knows? This could be something that happens. Mando's got a detonator.
Detonator.
Grogu's like brings it to him.
Shiny.
Now put it on the blue wire. And then let's go. I mean, could be anything like that, but I just have a feeling we're going to see that kind of stuff eventually here. But again, this episode, I honestly, I'm sure we'll see him moving forward, but the Dark Troopers, that was a quick hit. That was like, wow. And Gideon, the look on his face when he saw what Grogu was doing, at the end of the episode. That was pretty wild.
Now, as that played out, I believe that look on his face and hey, hold on, let him finish.
Right.
That whole thing was like, no, don't fire that yet. He's still got too much energy.
Yeah.
And that whole look was like, tire yourself out, kid. He knows.
Exactly.
He's exerting himself. Let him exert himself, and then he can take a nap for a while.
Yep.
So, I will say, though, that stormtrooper that stunned him is now the most hated stormtrooper
Oh, yes.
in the history of Star Wars.
Yes, for sure.
I mean,
And-
I wouldn't even, if I'm the actor right there, I don't even want my name attached to that. Like, I'll go uncredited.
Exactly. And okay, so what does it say about the Empire that they have binders small enough to fit on Grogu's wrists? I mean, that's not cool.
That's a good point. I didn't even think of that. Why do they have binders that small?
Exactly. I know there's lots of different species in the galaxy and all that they have to detain, but come on, it's. I mean, the fact that go on a kid really easy, that's just kind of like, ugh.
And they're completely proportional.
Yeah.
It is kind of jacked now that you point that out.
Yep, exactly. And then he ignites the Darksaber in his face. Grogu's trying to go for it after being worn out. He's like, nah, you put your eye out, kid. That was a Christmas Story reference.
And then meanwhile, Grogu's looking at that like, give me that.
Yeah, give me that.
1 minute.
I'll cut you in half. Come on.
I'm going to kill you, dude.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I used to be at the Jedi Temple. I know how these things work. Yes.
You should have come in here 5 minutes ago. Just see what I did to those stormtroopers.
Exactly.
Wait till I wake up.
Oh, yes.
No, but I mean that is that was pretty cool too. The way he did that, he had both of them.
Oh yeah.
The amount of power he can exert for a short amount of time.
Yeah, he lifts up Mudhorns. Yeah.
Yeah. But then like, I got this guy. Oh, you want some too?
Yeah. I'm gonna choke this guy over here, and I'm gonna slide this guy up into the wall. Then I'm gonna trip this guy with you, and then
I'm gonna choke both of you for a second.
Right.
You both are like, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, and then I'm gonna slam you together.
Yep.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yes, it was.
All right, other amazing thing. We got to go back to Boba Fett.
Okay.
And this is the kind of stuff that was like, this is where I'm like conflicted, right? Because I'm like, man, because I saw the slave one, and I'm like, oh man,
Right.
really, we're going here. I mean, come on, right?
Oh yeah. I know.
And then
I know what we skimmed over now. Yeah, go ahead.
Huh?
I said I know what we skimmed over now. Go ahead. Yeah.
And then we get to this fight sequence,
Uh
and he's just smacking the crap out of these stormtroopers with a stick.
huh. Right.
It's like, okay, that's awesome. Then he gets his armor back.
Yep.
And Mando and Fennec, right?
Yep.
Are cornered in what seems to be a losing battle.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. Back to back.
Yep.
Trying to shoot their way out of it.
And in comes Boba Fett.
Yep.
To unload an absolute can. And then not only is he like doing all kinds of cool stuff, like he's running and gunning, old West style, right? Like,
right.
And then he has a little melee mixed in there where he literally okay, point blank,
Right.
wrist blaster here, see ya.
Yeah. Shoots the guy 20 feet. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, whoa, that was cool.
Uh-huh.
And then he just walks forward, sticks his knee out, and fires from his knee.
Yep.
I was like, what the hell was that? That was cool.
Right.
So here I am, upset that Boba Fett showed up. And then I'm cheering for the guy.
Sure.
And then at the end, it's like, I still kind of wish he wasn't in there. But that was cool.
Yeah.
So, then he gets back into Slave One, and we're seeing that imagery, right? Him in the cockpit. And it really is all the stuff that people have attributed to this character for a long time, but never got to see.
Yes, absolutely.
And I will say, I slid over to everyone's side for a bit. Because it was cool seeing that.
Interesting. Well, I'm glad you were able to.
I still think it was the wrong place for it.
Okay, but you were able to stomach Boba Fett. I'm glad.
Yeah, because I'm not opposed to this happening.
Right.
Never have been. The part I'm opposed to is the venue.
Okay.
Right? I've been pretty clear. I mean, even you will not find a place before The Mandalorian where I'm like, oh no, this absolutely needs to not happen. Boba Fett, come on, really?
Right.
I was okay with it before they talked about him showing up here.
Yeah. You so this just goes back to the three big characters that you were mentioning before about coming on the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm watching The Mandalorian because I want the story of Din Djarin, the Mandalorian.
Right.
The Mandalorian of this show. Right?
Yep.
So, said, really emotionally turbulent episode for me.
Gotcha.
Man, that was cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very, very cool. And very, very Star Wars all the way.
Yes. All the way.
And took a character that had a legend about him for a long time and made it a real thing.
Absolutely.
So that was cool. Like I said, still iffy on about it. Still iffy about it being here, and we're gonna see more of him, obviously, with the way this ended.
Oh yeah.
Which brings me to my next point of my final two things I want to get to.
Okay.
All right, my next point: the amount of honor being exhibited by Boba Fett here was a little surprising.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because we think of ruthless bounty hunter, right?
Yep.
Friesman Carbonite. Yeah, but he's no good to me dead. I want my money. That's who we think of when we think of Boba Fett.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of sneaky tactics and
Sure. Yeah.
things like that. Not so much honorable stuff.
Right.
But apparently Boba Fett is a man of his word. To the letter.
Right.
He said, I said, I'd see to your safety. Well, the child's gone. We got to go get him back.
Right.
Oh, look at this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I guess maybe Maybe getting chewed on by a Sarlacc for a little bit did him some good.
Yeah, maybe. Because I will say, the impression we get from Boba Fett in the Clone Wars, you wouldn't necessarily think he'd have this kind of honor from that either.
No, like I said, it was all very sneaky, very
running with bounty hunters and
very shoot him in the back type.
Yes.
Stuff.
Yes.
But this, I mean, maybe it's because of his respect for the armor.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, and his obvious adoration for his father.
Right.
So that honor, that armor obviously meant something to his father that got instilled in him.
Right.
So,
and that's actually an answer we got, a question we got answered. So,
and it's actually right in line with what we talked about a few weeks ago with Bo-Katan's episode.
Right.
We ended up talking about that and the idea that the Fets maybe were following some sort of creed.
Right.
You know, in a similar group, not from Mandalore, so not true Mandalorians. So obviously the Mandalorians from Mandalore that were talking about them with such disdain were probably purists.
Right.
You know, if you're not from Mandalore, you're not one of us.
Exactly.
So this is a point of view thing. This is Star Wars. From their point of view, they're not Mandalorians.
Right. And this
group, he was a foundling. He was.
Yep. That which that pulled directly on Din Djarin's heartstring right there, because that's him. You know, he identifies with that. So for sure.
You know, and for him to say, you know, he was this is against the creed. I can't give this to you.
Right.
Whether it was yours for a time or not, it's not rightfully yours. And then he sees that and he goes, well, it's back where it belongs then.
Exactly.
So yeah, the honor among thieves here has been because even Fennec Shand, you know, her ruthlessness that was conveyed in that first season.
Right.
Has been softened.
Yep.
So there's a lot of honor amongst these people. And their word, because even he said, you know, I'll repay the favor. And she's like, we had a deal.
Right.
And kept fighting.
Yeah.
You know, at first I thought she had said, because the first time I watched it, I thought she said something like, you got yourself a deal.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
And she was like using him to, you know, kind of get away. But then when I watched it the second time, I'm like, no, she stayed in the fight and just used the safest thing right there, which was the Mandalorian and Beskar.
Right.
So, and man, this dude gets shot a lot.
He gets shot a lot. I just got a feeling that he's not worried about getting shot a lot.
Seems like a fatal flaw.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Last thing I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
We played some clips probably 2 months ago before this season kicked off from Giancarlo Esposito.
Ah, yes.
Where he talked about the action scenes that he was going to be involved in.
Right.
And, you know, going through Darksabers, right?
Yeah.
And we had all this speculation on who he was fighting.
Right.
We speculated it'd be Ahsoka Tano or Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
Well, I have a feeling it's going to be Din Djarin.
Oh, really?
I mean, we've seen what that Beskar spear he's got can do against the lightsaber.
Oh. Yeah.
He made sure to take that with him.
Yep, you're right.
And he's pretty pissed.
So, okay. No, you make a good point. It's a good setup we have here. Because
I made a good point of showing what that thing can do against the lightsaber.
Right.
Which, ironically, makes, bringing in one of those outside characters super important for the story going forward.
Right.
Because she was used to demonstrate what this thing is capable of.
Right. Huh. Interesting thought. Because all the way up until you said that, I was still of the opinion that, one, Baby Yoda's time on the Seeing Stone would result in another Jedi coming, or two, they go back and pick Ahsoka up, say, hey, you're on the A team for this week. I mean,
hey, remember that advice you gave me? Yeah, the
right.
child's kidnapped. That
Exactly.
advice sucked.
You helped me get the child kidnapped. Now you can help me get him unkidnapped. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I was thinking. But I like what you're saying there. And who knows? It could be a combination of all of it. But yes, we did get a good example of how that Beskar spear holds up the lightsabers.
I mean, and we know Gideon's getting out of the season.
Oh yeah,
because
that was kind of spoiled by Giancarlo.
Giancarlo's already talked about his work on
season 3. Yeah.
So unless he's doing flashbacks, he's alive.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't see how you could take him out of this season and go forward.
Right.
I mean, he is your big bad right now.
Yeah, for sure.
So until Thrawn shows up.
Yeah.
And that's just the way they're going here. Let's just bring everybody in.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
As much as I want to see Thrawn in live action, I really don't want to see it here with how packed this is getting.
Yeah. I got a feeling that was a whole setup for another series. So,
I mean, I truly feel like an outsider here in my opinions.
Uh-huh.
But it's what it is.
Yeah.
I guess I'm the outsider.
We'll see.
But yeah, I mean, we've talked about that a lot, about Boba Fett coming in and my opinions on that. And I thought if it happened, I would hate it. Well, it turns out that's not true.
Right.
I fanboyed out just like everyone else.
Nice.
It was really cool. I gotta say. And like I said, I would have preferred to have seen that happen in another venue.
Right.
Hey, it's what it is. It's what we got. I'm definitely team Boba Fett standalone series now.
Yeah, I can see that.
If with one stipulation, it's got to be Tim Morrison.
Oh yeah,
because that was freaking cool.
That was freaking cool. Yes,
his facial expressions, like he is just so stone faced in just the most serious, like cold blooded killer way.
Right.
It was just awesome. It put so much tone to everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
And his calm, like he seemed like such a formidable warrior.
Which he was, for sure.
Yeah. So he restored the Boba Fett legend.
Right. So I have one last question I guess I want to ask.
All right.
How much do you think it's going to cost Din Djarin to get the Razor Crest fixed?
Oh, That ship's gone, bro.
Yeah. It looks like bye-bye Razor Crest. So,
So I guess I'll go here real quick.
Yeah.
I saw some images floating earlier in the week of The Force Awakens.
Right.
When they get to Maz's castle there.
Right. Oh, Takodana, right?
Takodana.
Yeah.
Right? And in the background, after they leave the Falcon, it's Han and Rey talking there.
Sure.
You know, he's asking her to join his crew.
Right. Yeah.
Well, in one of those shots, in the background, there is a ship that looks like it's of the same design as the Razor Crest.
Okay.
And it immediately went, oh, is that the Razor Crest? I mean, it's different color, but that don't mean nothing.
Right.
And it's like, wow, is it really? And I even looked at it and goes, it looks like the same type of ship. I doubt it's the same one because I'm sure they made more than one.
Right.
I mean, if they only made one, he's got a pretty awesome ride there, you know?
I was going to say.
Limited edition.
Now we know they made more than one.
Yeah. Now we know for sure there's more than one.
If there's one in The Force Awakens. Yeah. Because this one wasn't salvaged. I'm sure of that.
No, there is no getting this ship back. That ship is gone.
Yeah.
So one shot too, just like gone.
Oh yeah.
And it was kind of heartbreaking.
Oh yeah.
We just talked about earlier with Slave One and Millennium Falcon and these ships being almost like characters. You know, the Razor Crest has been establishing that throughout this series.
Absolutely.
As a character.
Yep.
And it's definitely taken a beating along the way.
It has, but isn't that typical of our most beloved ships in Star Wars? I mean, look at the Falcon, right? It's, a hunk of junk, yet we all love it. So, kind of how it goes.
He just got it fixed up real good.
He did. It was fixed up real good, equipped with the tracker. And
now the Empire fixed it up real good for their side of things.
Yeah.
I love too. It shows that, and then it goes to the bridge of the cruiser there, and he's just smiling.
Oh yeah.
Like, sucker.
Yeah. Gideon revels in every little bit of this. Every time he can inflict a little pain upon somebody, that's what he's all about. Yeah.
Oh, it's funny because Giancarlo's enjoying himself doing this.
Absolutely.
and Gideon's enjoying himself doing this.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
So, yeah. But yeah, it was a fun episode. Really packed. A lot going on. I can only imagine what the next two episodes are going to be like.
Yeah, I think it's going to be top of the action scale.
I mean, it definitely seems like they're setting it up for an Avengers Assemble moment.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a perfect way of putting that. Going to see Cara Dune, and she's like, yeah, I got to go through all these channels and this and that. He's got the kid. And the look on her face was, all right, screw these proper channels.
These bleep the bleepers.
Yeah.
Yep. He's always got the right thing to say with her,
Exactly.
Like, I don't want to get involved. They're Imperial. Let's get them.
Yep. That's beautiful.
And this time she's like, that their Imperial trick isn't going to work on me. They got a kid.
Right.
Damn it. So, but that shows they've all rallied around this kid, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, looking forward to next week. It definitely appears the side quests are over.
Oh yeah.
That's been one of the, I won't really say complaints, because people haven't really been complaining about it.
No, I don't think so either.
But it's been the season has almost been labeled at this point the season of the side quest, and I don't think that's necessarily fair, but
it's not fair. And I got to be honest, I'm one of those people that started to go there with like episode 2, right? I just think, you know, sometimes it could start to feel that way, but you know, it kind of got past that real quick.
I think the purpose of those is that this is a show, right? And not everything goes according to plan.
Right.
You want to go here, you want to find this information. Well, that information isn't here, but hey, you want this, you got to do this. And, you know, the passenger, I mean, the intent was to go right to the destination planet, and things happened. You know, New Republic, they're, you know, not keeping their nose out of, you know, other people's business.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it's all been a means to an end.
Yep.
It's not so side questy that it just completely departs from the story. The threads of the story are still there. It's still intact.
Yeah, exactly. He was looking for Jedi. He's found one, you know. He found the Seeing Stone at the, you know, Jedi temple, whatever, you know, the henge. So, you know, he's definitely making headway in that regard. And with Baby Yoda actually getting a signal out there, you know, who knows? We may actually see something come to fruition from that. So,
yeah. Everybody complained about linear storytelling and things like that with the Clone Wars.
Right.
You know, and staying to the point, and then now look at it. Everybody loves the Clone Wars. So.
Yeah, exactly.
This is something that will pass with time.
Yes, for sure.
And the thing here is it's all linear.
Yeah.
Every single bit of it.
Yep.
From episode 1 till now, it's been a linear story. And it's going to be amazing to watch all of these as one big movie when it's all over with.
Absolutely. You know, we'll all be doing that.
Yeah. It might take, you know, 36 hours or more, but because who knows how long this show is going to go. If it keeps up like this, it's got a long life ahead of it.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right. Well, if you have anything to add, you can always email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. It's the best way to get a hold of us. We're also on social media. If you want to yell at me there, we're at The Wars and More on Twitter, facebook.com/thewarsandmore. And you can find all that and all the ways to find the show over at thewarsandmore.com. Any final thoughts this week, Doug?
No, I think that about covers it.
All right. We'll talk next week.